Hi everyone, and welcome to this latest build update on my Cumbrian Engage layout St. Bees. In this video, I scratch build the first proper building for the layout and finish the upper platform. So I've done a fair bit of work on the background scenics on the layout, and so I thought I'd make a start on the buildings, starting with this interesting arts and crafts waiting room on the up platform. This is still there now, and although it's a bed and breakfast rather than a waiting room, the design hasn't really changed much over the years. It's still largely as it was. As with the previous layouts, I decided to scratch build the building in paper and card, drawing it all up in Inkscape. I got the overall footprint dimensions from Google Maps, and then used some pre-built buildings to estimate some of the other dimensions. The walls were printed onto sticky labels after I'd measured them all out, and that was then stuck to card and then cut out. So this is a method I've been following for a while now, which I got from the Chandwell channel, and I'll put a link in the description to that. I'd recommend checking it out if you haven't already. So with the various walls cut, these are sort of checked to make sure that they were right, giving us a little test fit beside the platform. And then I added the wall coverings. So these were made in two layers. The first was using Scale Scene's white wooden boards, which is overlaid with red stripes. And the second was the same stone wall prints that I've been using for some of the walls in the goods yard. But I sort of scanned them in and gave them a red overlay as the shading of the sandstone on the buildings a bit more of a reddy shade than the walls are. So I wanted to try and replicate that. And yeah, and once I was happy with that, these are then printed to paper and then glued onto the various different walls using PVA. I tried a slightly different technique from the usual scale scenes technique I normally use for applying the textures. So normally I print the text to be slightly bigger than the card template and then wrap it around so you get a sort of textured edge. But sometimes this doesn't always look the best. You kind of get like a sort of fat edge to it. I thought I'd try another technique that I saw on the Chandwell channel of kind of printing the texture to fit exactly the card template. So this obviously requires a bit more accuracy between the sort of card template and the texture overlay. But I think it's worked quite well on this waiting room so far. And yeah, I think I'm going to try using that again on the future buildings on the layout. Because yeah, I quite like the look of it. The windows are made using the sticky label method. So that's where you drop the frames in Inkscape, print them to sticky labels, and then stick that to acetate. And then you then carefully cut around the edges using a sharp craft knife, and then remove the center of the window. So you end up with a sort of a frame around the acetate, which is then glued to the back of the window. And yeah, works really well. And you can get really, really fine frames with this, I've found. So yeah, it's quite a good technique. For the roof, I decided to use the Scale Scenes roofing tiles again. So I keep on flip-flopping between using this technique and just sticking on some tile prints. With the Scale Scenes, what you do is you cut individual strips and along the visible edge, use a grey felt tip pen just to kind of get rid of the white paper color, and then applying layers from the bottom to the top using PVA, and what you get is this nice sort of 3D tiling effect downwards. Yeah, and the only downside I find to using this past is it can be quite tricky to get it nice and straight. Um, so it looks okay if you've got like a sort of old rickety building, but if you want a fairly new building, then yeah, sometimes you have to be really careful in getting it nice and straight, which I think I have with the waiting room. But yeah, it does take time, and it does require sometimes applying it a couple of times just to get it right. And yeah, here it is on the layout, with the addition of some bushes and trees around, just kind of blended in. And yeah, really, really pleased with how it's come together. With the waiting room in place, I can now finish off the rest of the up platform. So around where the waiting room has gone, some of the polyfiller had broken away. Not quite sure why, but it did. And so I used some modeling clay pressed into place. And then once that was dry, just sanded it down before applying the same brown paint and grey brown weathering powders as the rest of the platform to get it all to blend in. Um, Continuing on the platform, I've also redone the fence along the platform edge to be a bit more um, like it looked in the old photos. So there is a small wall along the base, which looks like it's the same red sandstone as the rest of the station buildings. So again, I've used the sandstone with the red overlay to kind of represent that. And then along the top, got the fence that I had there originally. And to add a bit more atmosphere, I've also added some of the period scenic adverts which I had there originally, and these are from scale model scenery. I'm feeling really motivated after the waiting room. I've now decided to crack on straight away with the main station building as well. This is quite a complicated structure. If you actually look at the photos of it, it's made up of lots of different sections at different heights and different roof lines and stuff. So I'm taking it bit by bit. As with the waiting room, I'm sort of modelling kind of early 20th century as built sort of design for the building. It has like the waiting room has changed subtly over the years. So the model building I'm representing here does have like a sort of canopy between the two ends of the building, which isn't there anymore. That's all been bricked off. Some of the chimneys have gone, and the little things like that I've noticed from looking at the photos of the years. But I'm going to try and replicate the earliest form of the building, but I'll probably get it wrong because there'll be something I miss in the photos. There always is. And this is kind of where I've got to so far. So as following the same technique as the waiting room. So this has all been drawn up in Inkscape using dimensions calculated from Google Maps again. Got the majority of the structure done. Need to add the small annex at the far end. I don't think this is. I think this. I can't find. It's annoying. I can't find the photos from the right angle that show what was originally here. So I think this is where I'm going to have to make a compromise and use the current building, which is a small sandstone building, similar design to the main station buildings. But some of the earliest photos, it doesn't look like it was that. It looks almost like a sort of a grounded carriage or something like that. But I can't quite make it out. But for now, I think I'm gonna do it as a brick building. And beside that, I think there were toilets. But yeah, I'm gonna model that as just kind of basically a wall. Attached to the sort of the small annex at the end. And yeah, but yeah, so far so good. Um, Other things probably mention I've added a couple of trees. So I had some sticks from the garden that were about the right shape. So to make those, I've sort of let them dry, sprayed them with some glue, and then applied some woodland scenic clump scatter to those. They look quite good. Just on the hunt for more sticks to make a few more trees. It's quite a easy, simple way of getting quite good, realistic looking trees, I think. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I'm up to. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this latest video on CPs. If you did, please leave a like, and a comment. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.